So today we press on in Esther 4, and again, the story is just so amazing. So Haman has convinced King Xerxes to issue this edict that all of the Jews throughout the kingdom are going to be killed. And so Mordecai, Esther's older cousin who raised her, he's in the middle of the courtyard, he's in sackcloth, he's mourning, he's wailing, and he sends this message to Esther and says, Esther, you have to go before the king. And Esther notes, she says, if I do this, there was a rule that if you went before the king and you weren't called, that you could be killed unless the king raises his scepter. And Esther says, the king hasn't called me for 30 days. I can't go before the king. And Mordecai, what Mordecai does is remove the isolation. He says, you may think you're in the palace. You have all these creature comforts. You may think you're safe, but you're not. And the death that goes, that threatens all of the Jews, it threatens you too. And God will deliver God's people. But you are under the same threat of death. Even if when you're isolated, you don't feel like it, and perhaps you've been placed in the palace, perhaps you have the resources you have for such a time as this. And Esther, full of grace, responds, she says, I will go to the king. If I perish, I perish. She's willing to risk everything. But she asked for the community to be in prayer with her, fasting for 3 days beforehand. And so when she goes in, the whole community, the fasting and prayers, the entire community will go with her. She's not going to be alone. She has rebuilt the link between her and the community and recognizes that even the wealth and comfort of the palace doesn't sever that link. And so, friends, the challenge to us, right, is how do we recognize our common link with humanity, with people who suffer around our community and around our world, that we are in this together with them. And with the resources we have, how do we see those as opportunities to serve? And perhaps we have the resources we have. Perhaps we're in the places we have for such a time as this, to love and to serve as Christ sends us.